I am joined on the UK Drum Show official podcast by Dexter Hercules. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
How
Thank
how are
you.
you?
I'm all right, man. How are you doing?
I'm delicious, obviously. Um,
I'm happy to be here. We made it
um,
work.
we did. After only 4,897 exchanged text messages, we've made this work. Um,
Here we are.
Dexter Hercules. That is probably the strongest name in drums, right?
Oh, thank you, bro. I guess so, yeah. If I had a pound for every time somebody asked me if my name was real, I'd have a nice mansion somewhere, I'm telling you that.
I was actually, do you know what I was actually going to say? Is Hercules your real surname?
It is, yeah.
That's so cool.
I've
That's
got
so
the
cool.
I've got the passport to prove it, yeah, man.
Well, maybe don't shout it. Somebody might steal it.
I know, right?
Dexter, for those that don't know, you are the drummer for Ed Sheeran. He is arguably one of the most popular musicians in the world at the moment. Um, how do you prepare yourself as a drummer for playing such enormous shows with somebody who is so well known to the planet?
Yeah. Um, well, first of all, it's like been a blessing really to be a part of his shows. Been doing it nearly 2 years now, working with Ed. Um, and I mean, it was one of those. It's one of those gigs that when you get the phone call, you're just like, yes, straight away. Um, and I've had some incredible opportunities with him, and yeah, we get to play like these massive shows. Um, every single day, which has been absolutely incredible. But the way that I mean, in terms of musically, it's pop. It's music that isn't necessarily like it's not progressive rock. It's not jazz fusion. You know what I mean? It's quite like simple grooves and stuff like that. So in terms of like my musical preparation is probably a little bit more simple than the mental prep because the mental prep is like kind of wrapping your head around playing in front of like 70, 80,000 people a night, and just something that you then start to become used to. um so and also just kind of the traveling and everything that kind of comes with that, being away from your family and that kind of thing. Like, there's probably a lot more that goes into the mental prep than the actual musical prep. But the musical prep is pretty simple. His songs are, nothing too complicated, but it's just about me being myself, um, adding my little bits that make Dexter on a groove that make it like feel good for the band, make it feel comfortable for him. Um, and yeah, just still trying to add little bits that make it feel good for me, but still trying to be true to the record. And on a gig like this where it's not like the emphasis is not on the musicians, so there's only kind of so much that you can do in terms of like going in, if you want to call it that. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, everybody who comes to the show, they're not coming because Dexter's on drums.
I
A
would,
lot
to be fair, I would.
because a lot of the show as well is him by himself on his loop pedal as well. Do you get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's very much the people just come to see him, and we are just like the cherry on top in terms of the band. So musically, it's just like keeping it really simple, keeping the pocket, trying to make it feel good, make everybody dance, and keep it moving.
So, you've talked about your mental preparation for playing in front of 80,000 people.
Yeah.
Does that preparation change when you approach something like the UK Drum Show, where you're going to be spending a weekend with drummers focusing on you as a drummer, watching your every move? Is there more kind of stress behind a performance like that than there is playing in front of 80,000 people? Or is it just different
Um,
altogether?
it's just different, really. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have played the UK drum show quite a few times.
Mm.
So I'm kind of used to being in that environment as well, and performing clinics, master classes, and it is a different thing when you're playing in front of drummers who know exactly, if what you're doing, they know if you've made a mistake or not. But at the same time, it's really exciting. I kind of like look forward to doing that because when I am like, for example, on the road with Ed, I'm limited to that music. Do you get what I'm saying? So it is really exciting to just actually go to the UK drum show and like I'm just gonna do a little bit of me that like you would never hear me doing on a gig, or like I can just kind of get away with anything really. Do you get what I'm saying? So I kind of I look forward to those. It's funny because about 2 weeks ago I performed at my daughter's school, which is way more nerve wracking. She's in primary school. That is way more nerve wracking than playing at the drum show, playing in front of any of Ed's shows. I'm telling you now, like performing at my daughter's school, primary school, where you just got a bunch of kids that are looking at you like, do something then, impress me then. And kids are brutal, like they would, they'll definitely say if they didn't rate what you was doing, you know what I mean? So that's probably way more mentally nerve wracking than anything. But I do enjoy doing the master classes. You just get to be yourself, and I've kind of got ideas of things that I want to play and talk about at the UK drum show this year. But just wing it and see how it goes.
It's amazing. That's so and I'm going to be hosting the main stage, but I'm definitely going to try and very quickly dip in and out of because you're going to be in Mike Johnston's room.
Yes,
It's going to
yes,
be yourself, Mike Johnston, Yost Nickel, and Jay Poststones from Tesseract. So I mean, just four brilliant minds put together for a
yeah,
whole weekend, which is going to be unbelievable. And I know that there's a lot of people that are looking forward to being in that intimate scenario with you where they can ask questions and they can kind of reach
yeah.
out.
This one is going to be really. I'm actually really looking forward to it. Probably more than any of the other drum shows that I've done because a lot of the time when you're playing like main stage or you're playing like these clinics, people don't really get the chance to really pick your brain. You don't have
Mhm.
enough time. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas like in Mike's room, it's going to be like I'm going to try and go a little bit more down the educational route and really explaining what I do and getting an opportunity to answer like questions that people might have
Yeah,
in more depth.
yeah, definitely. I think one of the questions that's going to come up for you, if it hasn't come up before, so I'll ask it now, is how on earth did you get the gig with Ed Sheeran?
Yeah, that is just it's just a word of mouth, like word
Really?
of mouth thing, really. Yeah. I I'd come across the MD. Me and the MD hadn't worked together before, but he'd worked with a few friends of mine before, and I do get these questions a lot of like just how do you get gigs or how do you get big gigs or whatnot, and it does work differently for everybody, but I guess for me it was just kind of a building up of my reputation, working hard, practicing, obviously that stuff, but like
Yeah.
just people see you become more reliable when you've done more stuff, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
and and you only do more stuff by doing more stuff, if that makes sense. So like,
Yes. Yes.
people might have seen me play with on The Voice or see me play with
Yeah.
Emily or whatever, and they're like, oh, Dexter's done this, that, and the other, so he must be ready. If you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yes.
So that's kind of how you are, that coupled with, being able to play well, but also just being a cool person. And, like a lot of people um, underestimate that bit because there's so much things that you can do to go down in people's estimation of you in terms of being professional.
Hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying? Or
Hmm.
just how you carry yourself off stage. So that
Yeah.
carries a lot. So for me, it kind of worked out to be like a cocktail of all of those good things. And then, at some point, an MD is going to be looking for a drummer.
Yeah.
Um, and that for me just happened to be on a gig like Ed, where they was looking for a drummer and my name came up. And I guess out of that reliability of knowing that I had done other stuff,
Yes.
uh, I was able to get that phone call. So it's pretty simple. There wasn't like a mad complicated way of getting
No.
this particular. Some people have got like amazing stories of how they've got gigs, but my one was just a phone call.
Still very cool though. That's still
Yeah, yeah.
so what you're saying is reputation, networking, and obviously being the best player that you can be.
That you can be. Yeah, I mean, like there's no magic formula to it. To be honest with you, it's
Mm.
literally you have to try and do those things. Now, networking in this day and age is probably it's different to how it was maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago,
Mm.
because obviously social media and stuff like that. But I do still tell people to go out, go to jam nights and
Yeah.
be seen physically rather
Yes.
than like nowadays you can just post 100 clips and that's networking, right? But at the same time, if people, I still think it's good for people to see you physically.
Mm. Yeah.
So go to places where even if you're not going to play, just go to places where some people are, or
I love that.
where it's happening. There's loads of nights that I've gone to where it's not been about playing and I've just gone to hang. That's
Yeah.
how I actually like I met the MD um at a mutual friend of ours' birthday.
Right. Okay.
That's how I met Ed's MD. Like, and so that's got nothing to do with playing. That's just like the guitarist in the band is one of my best friends because I went to college with him, and he was really cool with the MD, and he had a birthday, and we met there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like,
That's
I'm
amazing.
I'm not saying you got to go out to every party, but I'm just saying like,
You might be. No, I'm joking.
yeah,
Go to
it's
every
good to
single party ever.
ever, no, it's good to be social. That's what I'm saying because you never know. Some of the best gigs that I've got have come from just being out. Luckily, doing certain gigs, being seen. So that's how it works.
Do you think, in your experience, having done, UK drum show before, having done those kind of intimate networking shows and also playing in front of 70, 80,000 people, do you think that there is something particularly special about the drumming community and how drummers tend to look after each other, put in a good word? Because I've obviously been to the UK drum show a lot and I've seen people arrive, I've seen two strangers arrive on a Saturday morning together and leave on the Sunday night best of friends.
Best friends, yeah.
Why do you think the drumming community is so transparent and just vibrant and colorful?
I feel like it's been like that from the beginning of time, man. Like drummers just have this thing with other drummers that like we just want to be like we just want to be friends with each other, and to be honest with you, I mean, I've been going to the drum show about 20 years. I've been going for years, and um every year that it was on, it was always a chance for me to like, okay, well, who's the young new guy who's I want to see what's going on. And it's also a way of um measuring. When you go to these things, you start to see different people playing and stuff like that. It's a way of you measuring how far you've come. Every year I would go to the drum show when I was a kid, and I'd meet up with other drummers in London, and we would like be shedding and stuff like that. And like from that point on, I'd take their number and oh, this drummer plays for this person, this drummer plays for Miss Dynamite, this drummer plays for Sugar Babes or whatever it was at the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I just want to be around. I want to get more of that information. And I'd start to hang around these guys. We'd become friends and we'd organize sheds and stuff like that. It was just
Yeah.
always a way of like meeting people and seeing what's going on. And it's so funny you say that because I was chatting to a good friend of mine this morning who plays for Jess Glynn, Anthony Sweet Sticks Lewis. one of my best friends, and we used to go to the drum show like every single year and like play drums, but we also used to organize like these drum sheds um that loads of us would go to. And I was chatting to him this morning because I found a video of a drum shed that I had put on when I was like 16 or something, 15, 16. I was still in school. And like we had there might have been like 6 or 7 drummers and 4 kits in the room.
Hmm.
And we're all like
Rotating.
trading ideas
Yeah.
and doing all of that stuff. And that's the drumming community. It was never competitive, but
No.
it was competitive for us to get better. So there was never any malice in it, if you know what I'm trying to say. But it's
I,
like, okay, what's he doing? All right, I need to learn how to do that. Why is he so fast? I need to
yeah.
get faster. You know, like, and it's all building. And I just think like the drumming community for as long as, you know, as far back as you want to go, we've been doing that as drummers. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? Like just hanging out. I met some really, really cool. I was at the drum show last year. And I met some really, really cool drummers that I was just like having a drink with, and we was just sharing stories and
yeah.
just sharing experiences with. Like, so it's just always been like that.
It's amazing. And do you know the best thing about talking about the drumming community? It's like whenever you talk to a drummer about that community and its importance and its significance, drummers always smile because
Yeah,
drummers
yeah.
are whether they are sort of slightly introvert or I find kind of 90% of the time drummers are natural extroverts. They want to, after the gig, go
Yeah.
and meet the other drummers from the other bands and go for a beer or go for something to eat. You know, they just love sharing. And even on like the main stage when I'm looking out at people, I can see people taking
People
notes
are
and
writing down,
sharing it
yeah.
with the and I think not that I would ever badmouth another instrument at all because my knowledge in other instruments isn't what it is for drums, but I really sincerely believe that most other instrument communities want what the drumming community has
Oh
got.
no, they all say that. That like that's just the truth, man. But we are like, you know, the only kind of community that do get together like that. You know, you don't
Yeah.
really hear a lot of like sometimes I speak to my friends who play like different instruments. I'm like, do you guys ever hook up like with other people that play your instrument? They're like, nah. I'm like, I do that all the time. Like I'm always linking up with drummers, and some of my drummer friends are my best friend. Like I've been on holiday with some of my drummer friends, like away from drumming and stuff. You know, like
Yeah.
we just have that kind of community. But I don't know why everybody else like doesn't do it as much as we do. But I'm definitely grateful. I mean, like, yeah, I'm grateful for all of my drummer friends because I wouldn't be the person that I am today without meeting these guys and shedding with these guys and learning, you know.
Well, Dexter, you are going to be in your home away from home between the 18th and 19th of October at the ACC Liverpool, joined as well by Mike Johnston, Joost Nickel, Jay Poststones, and of course yourself. It is going to be an amazing weekend of drums. Thank you so much for coming on the UK Drum Show official podcast. My last question to you is, what is your advice for aspiring drummers of any age, any ability that maybe have seen you on stage or seen you on YouTube, or maybe they might be hearing about your journey through drums for the first time on this podcast?
Um, oh, that's a great question. But I would say like number one, embrace your playing, embrace your mistakes. You know, as much as there's a lot of things on social media for you to see and learn from, embrace the way that you play instead of trying to sound like somebody else. Um,
Mm.
so I would definitely say that. And you have to find the beauty in the mistakes that you make. It took me a long time to like be comfortable with some of the little mistakes that I make. And I'm not necessarily comfortable with them, but I know that like when people hear me, they're like, oh, that's Dexter, which is the best compliment that I can get rather than like, oh, that's Dexter, but he sounds like Dennis, you know, like, or
Yeah, yeah,
he sounds a little bit like Tony Royce. Like, you know, like I'd much rather people say, oh, like, no, that sounds like Dexter. So that comes with an acceptance that like you're not gonna sound like your favorite guy. but
Mm,
embrace the way
yes.
that you sound.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say, um, probably in relation to that, like my journey is not what you lot's journey is going to be. It's your journey is going to be completely different to mine. So you can't watch what other people are doing too much or how they got there because, like I said, I met Ed's MD at a birthday party. You might meet your MD online, or you might meet your MD at a jam night somewhere. So, like, just keep on going, be consistent with what you do, be consistent with your practice. You know, the cliche things like try to be a nice person and blah, 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 but like just embrace a lot more of you rather than others.
Amazing. Embrace your
And support
mistakes.
Arsenal. Supporting Arsenal is, yeah,
Do
that's
you
going to
know,
get you really far.
dude, I am not the person to talk about football with because I only found out about 4 years ago that David Seaman was no longer England's goalkeeper. So serious.
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
where's that geezer with the moustache? I was like, no, that's the wrong decade, mate.
Wow. That's funny.
Thank you so much for coming
You're
on,
most
Dexter.
welcome.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And we are really, really looking forward to having you at the UK Drum Show this year.
I can't wait, man. Let's hook up. It's going to be sick.